Good afternoon. My name's David Burnett from the Queensland Art Gallery. I was one of the selectors for the Singapore contingent of this exhibition, and I'd like to introduce Susan Victor, who's going to speak about her work behind us. Susan is a graduate of LaSalle College in Singapore. She was the artistic director of a very significant artists-run group and gallery and space in Singapore called Fifth Passage. It had a very colourful, checkered career, I guess we could say, Susan. And she has been widely exhibited both in Singapore and throughout Asia, most recently in an exhibition called Visions of Happiness in Tokyo. So I'd like to welcome Susan Victor. Thank you, Susan.
Thanks very much. Thanks for your attendance and your time. This piece is titled Tintoretto's Risen Christ, Arresting Lazy Susan. And I had a lot of great fun and pleasure putting this installation together. I think I'll start with the choice of materials that I used for this work. Basically, as you can see, the words are written with hair that's been bleached and dyed red. And hair has a certain meaning in Singapore, but I think outside of that master narrative, there is meaning of taboo and the removal of sexuality, or even the removal of identity, that one can be anonymous, and an asceticism in the removal of hair in certain contexts as well. So it's very important for me to use a product of the body, the hair, to signify and address the issues of, in this case, bodily fluids that are expelled, and it seeps and it leaks from a woman's body. And there was a question about, well, I was talking to my friends last night and they were asking me why write it in words? Why isn't that sense of fantasy that one would be able to have with a sculptural image or a visual image rather than text? And I think that writing text in hair was very important, because I think that as a sign of protest as well, that it is precise. And I'm protesting about the physiological inevitability of the female body, that there's this constant seepage and leakage, and it's divorced from many other aspects of the woman's function. And there's also been a lot of interpretation, and people refer to this as a wedding gown, perhaps because it's made of organza, but I think organza in a wedding gown is, well, a bride would wear a wedding gown that's not transparent, and the organza is more a veil, used as a veil, and that you can see and yet you can't see, is coy, and it's a kind of promised pleasure in the ritual of the wedding that that you can see and yet you do not see. So there's that kind of seductiveness and secret as well, and I want to throw out these thoughts by using that material. And around the curved walls, which were very kindly supplied by the Queensland Art Gallery, the window inserts, they contain organs that are made with broken red glass, particularly red glass. And I thought that the act of breaking glass, fragmenting it, and then with a certain tenacity and determination, that it can cohere and assemble itself again into organs of fragility and the sites of intensity in a woman's body. For example, the heart is the site of the emotion, and the nipples, which are more or less removed from its context, circumcised, if you like, from the mammary gland, the site of generosity in a woman's body, that it nourishes, it feeds, and it's a site of pleasure as well. And so there are other organs like the ovaries, which were quite often mistaken for other parts of the male body, and the uterus, and the excised clitoris, and the tongue, which is a site of expression, and that even though you have a voice, literally a voice as a woman, that sometimes a lot of ventriloquism is going on via the woman's body, that you do not pronounce and state. You're not given the opportunity more like in certain contexts to say exactly what you mean or what you want yourself to mean. So these are the readings these are the thoughts that I thought about when I was doing this work. So as a point of departure, maybe I'd like to open it to questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
Can I ask about the way you have displayed this work, the dress on the rotating platform and the very nice, comfortable red cushions that you've got other things displayed on? Obviously that's very important. Can you explain?
The question was, can you explain the way in which you've put the installation together with the rotating dress and also the very comfortable red cushions on to which the various items you've just described have been placed? Is that an important aspect? And probably, can you explain that importance?
I would attempt to offer my own reading, not explain, but yeah. The rotating platform was very important because it serves up dirt for the spectator. It's not going to serve up I think it serves up dirt, and I wanted to serve up dirt to the spectator and to serve up the meaning of it's very important to mention this, that the site specificity of this installation that is next to Tintoretto's Risen Christ, that one singular act of bleeding is such a meaningful icon and gesture, and this liquid placenta that is seeping in circular time in the woman's body, that it's not acknowledged as meaningful as that. So I just wanted to throw out these thoughts. And that also when you stand and position yourself to read the words, that you can never place me because I'm always relegated to the periphery. And as women relegated to the edge, that he forgets that she defines the limits of that center. And that as the marginal, she engulfs the center. So it's a kind of philosophical answer, if you like. The other thing about the cushion, I suppose it's the suggestion of rest, that the organs that are severed and removed from the body, that they're resting on these red cushions, and yet I want to there's a contrast in the glass that's hurtful, and yet it's resting. Thoughts like that was important.
What do the colours signify?
The question was, what do the colours signify?
I think that the hair was deculturalized, they're bleached and then steeped and infused in red dye, which I'd like to suggest blood, and I'd like to suggest that there's this universality beneath our skins and facades, that we're all made of this red thing as well that flows through our body. And of course that applies more or less to the broken red glass, that is not glass, transparent glass, but it must be red glass to suggest that.
What about the black and white? Is that more drama
Oh, that's an aesthetic decision to, yeah.
No? Oh, one more.
black walls lie squarely into the figure in the middle. Is that significant or just visual?
The question was, are the black walls being designed to enclose the space, or is that an aesthetic decision which relates back to the answer that you've just given?
I think that as a moving installation, I wanted to be able to direct the positioning of the spectator, and that you really get a sense of being served up the